I was given opportunity through, maybe typical ways or traditional ways, but this gives me an opportunity to help influence opportunity for people that have no idea that mining is in their backyard or what mining actually might look like. So you've heard us talk about Centro, our remote operating center in Nogales. We were really intentional on the siting selection for that building because we wanted it to be an enabler to the industry. So not everyone is going to be able to get up at 3 a.m, put their boots on, get on the bus, ride out to site.
Warning, explicit content. This material may not be suitable for children. Listener discretion is advised.
Go put in some elbow grease, cause you know nothing that you get in this life comes free. Gotta work all day. Gotta pay these bills, ain't no time to waste.
Hello, miners. Hello, podcast listeners. Welcome into Mining Minds. Welcome into the main shaft here at South 32 Hermosa. Sitting with my man, Dino Brunson.
What's happening?
And we are sitting with the Human Resources Director at South 32 for Hermosa, Skylie Estep. Welcome in, and thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for everything today. And
yes.
You know what I mean? We've been
Yes.
planning this for a couple weeks. We have been very fortunate to be able to do what we did today. You know what I mean? It was an early day. I was actually so excited that I didn't sleep at all last night. It was like I woke up at midnight or 9:30, went to bed at 7:30 in hopes to get some, decent sleep. So we had to leave at 4. We left the house at 4:00 today. But weeks into it, I want to say thank you for having us out. To be able to do what we did today, that is, people don't get the opportunity to do that.
I'd say the same thing. Thank you for having us out here. Thank you for having faith in us and then coordinating all this. Lena, she's sitting over there. Not a lot of people get to see her, but she helped with this too. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem. It's been great to have you out and kind of tell our story and familiarize yourselves with the things that I know we've talked about in the past at various events. So it's nice to kind of show it off and have you reconnect with some of the team members and meet other new team members. So it's been fun.
Absolutely. Walk us through a little you. What did that look like? Where'd you grow up? Where were you born?
Yeah, who's your dad?
Do we know any of your family?
I don't know. You might. So my name's Skylie Estep. My maiden name is Blakeman. So my dad is Mark Blakeman. I'm very thankful for the dad that I have. My dad's been in mining my entire life. So when I was thinking, what I wanted to do when I grew up, it was not mining. I was always really grateful for what the industry provided to me and my family, but I saw it as kind of a dirty job and something that, I didn't really see a lot of people like me in the industry. There weren't a lot of women. I had my stepmom and my aunt worked in the industry, but they worked at the security shack at Bullfrog in Beatty. And I was like, I don't know. So that's the only point of reference that I had as far as representation of myself. So
You thought that's what you would be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know
I'm
if that's
good.
for me. Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to check in minors. And I'm good.
Yeah.
So where were you born though? Because you weren't born in
No, I was born in Cody, Wyoming.
Oh.
My dad worked in the oil fields in Wyoming. He was a driller. And so he and my mom met. They got married. They had me. They had my younger brother, Dustin. And then they kind of separated and went their own ways. My dad kind of went around different places in Wyoming, Nevada, before he kind of landed in mining. He worked in Beatty for a long time. My parents, I think before they moved from Beatty, they lived there 20 years or something. So it was a long time. My parents being divorced, I went to kind of from 4th grade through to graduating high school at a school in Cincinnati. So really the furthest thing from mining that you can get.
Sure.
Yeah.
Although, we know now as adults that there actually was quite a bit of mining in that part of the country, coal mining, but that's not very sexy either, right? So it's like, I don't want to be a coal miner. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I was actually selling insurance when I was a young adult. I had my son Connor. He was born in February of 2006 or 2007. Gosh.
Give him an
So-
extra year.
It's all right,
Yeah.
Connor.
My mom's,
His
my
birthday's
mom,
2/6/2007. so
my mom does the same thing to me.
yeah. We're lucky if we remember everybody's name. Okay. There's a lot going on. But the economy kind of had a downturn. And I was like, you know what? Like, I was a young mom. I didn't want to be poor my whole life. I didn't want to struggle. There's a lot of people, who struggle in that part of the country. It was Southern Ohio, outside of Cincinnati, kind of in the Rust Belt. And there's just like not a lot of opportunity there. And so I knew that I wanted to really be intentional about making sure that my son had a good life. At the time, I only had Connor. And so in February of 2008, right after Connor's first birthday, we moved to Nevada.
Oh boy.
I had called my dad a few weeks before and let him know that I was kind of in a hard time. And he was like, I'll help you, but you can always move. You don't have to stay where you're at, but I will help you. And he just so happened to be in Michigan on a business trip, looking at some sort of equipment or something. And so instead of flying back to Nevada, he came to Cincinnati, loaded everything I could fit into this little tiny geo tracker on a trailer being pulled across the United States by some like extended Yukon or something. There was a terrible ice storm. I was like so nervous. My son would not wake up. Anytime the sun would go down, he'd just start crying. He didn't want to be in the car. Plus there was ice everywhere and there were semi trucks all over I-80, all across the United States, just like somebody had taken a box cutter and laid them out. And I was like, oh my gosh, please make sure we get there okay. And my dad's like, if you say another word, you're going to walk. So be quiet. But we made it.
How funny. You got your baby in the back crying and he's got his baby to the side of him crying.
I know.
It's like, settle down. It's
It's probably like it's better when it's an actual baby. Will you please be quiet?
Well, so you took a risk though,
Yeah.
to where you've got your child with you, your dad and your son,
Yeah.
and you just said, hell with it, I'm out.
Yeah.
And what a memory though, man, to go across country.
It sounds traumatizing, actually.
Yeah, but when you look back and everything's okay, I always look at that and go,
Yeah,
what
that's
cool
good.
experience.
That's exactly what you have to do. And I think about, I know when you were interviewing Pat, you were asking him about some of those pivotal moments in one's career or one's life that gets someone to where they need to be. I mentioned already, like, I knew that mining always provided for our family. Like, if there was ever, if things weren't matching up, my parents could work overtime. They could do whatever they needed to do to make sure we had a good life. Like, we had a boat, we'd go to the lake. They coached Little League. They were all very involved in the community. And I think if it weren't for that mining community, that community that we all had in Beatty growing up with Little League and all of those things, it wouldn't have been the same. And so I knew that while it was maybe a risk to me, like I was going somewhere where I didn't know anyone other than my family, right? But it wasn't an unfamiliar place. I had been to Elko many times, visiting my grandparents and my aunt and uncle. And so while it was scary, it was more scary to me to not know how I was going to take care of my son. And so I was really fortunate. My dad worked for Ben Lapercio and Vern Goglio at the time. And I started out through Manpower as a temp. I started at Goldstrike Underground on Valentine's Day of 2008.
God, what a bundle of roses to get for for Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Vern and Ben.
So my first day of work, Vern actually picked my dad and I up and drove us to site. And so the gratitude I have for both of them is beyond measure. I'm just so thankful for the opportunity that they gave me. But it was something that really meant something to me. Like, I was given this opportunity and I wasn't going to piss it away, right? Like, I was going to work hard and do the things that I needed to do to make sure that I proved myself in my career. I was very lucky to start my mining career at an operation like Goldstrike Underground. The people that I got to meet were next to no one. They're amazing. And I think about the culture and things that we're building here at Hermosa, and that's what I think about, right? Is the way things were when I started it.
Yeah, well, did you know that essentially you were riding out your first day with three legends?
Yeah, that's kind of a good point. Those
Three
are three big
people
names.
that kind of paved the way for a lot of people. You know what I mean? And I look at it and go, man, there was somebody looking out for you. I mean, not even just in the ice storm to get across, but your first day of work, it was like you didn't know them from Adam. And looking back on it, I mean, for me to be able to reflect for you at this point, it's like, wow, what an opportunity.
Yeah. I'll tell you, my first ride out to site was not like that at all.
Well, when I got to site, we were, I don't know if you're familiar with the underground at Goldstrike, but there's like the 2-story admin building, and there's like a walkway and a door at the end of the hallway. But then if you go to the left, there was what we referred to as the new dry. And then there was the maintenance trailer. I was walking down that walkway right before that door, and someone slammed that door open so hard, and it came inches from my face.
Oh, shit.
The next day, there was a window put in that door. But I was like, oh my gosh, I have made a mistake.
So almost get taken out the first day.
Yeah.
Not only are you brand new to the mining industry at this point in your story, but you're going to the biggest mine in northern Nevada.
Yeah.
What did you think when you were pulling on site with these 3 dudes?
I've been asked that question a lot in my life. Like, were you afraid? Underground mining, mining has a lot of negative connotation tied to it.
You couldn't be scared though, because your dad was there.
I was not scared. And so, like, when we think about things like the South 32 safety guarantee, like, I know that every single day, I know that I can guarantee that I'm going to work safely for my colleagues, and my colleagues are going to make that commitment to me because I've seen it happen. And I'm fortunate, my family's fortunate that we've not had any tragedies, but that's because, they also, the words maybe aren't the same as the guarantee, but my dad wakes up every day and goes to work, and he's going to work safe because he knows he's got a family to support. He has grandkids that he wants to see. He wants to, I don't know, he likes riding bikes now because of me. He wants to go on bike rides with me and do all of those things. So he's going to be damn sure that he's going to be able to do those
it's
things.
in the forefront of his mind, and it's something. It's a culture that was bred into him when he got out there, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like it trickles through the community. And visiting with Pat a little bit ago was, you could see that, and you can see that in the way that all of you guys represent South 32 is just a way of life.
Yeah.
Sponsoring this episode of the podcast, and a company that keeps projects moving forward, a company that's keeping this podcast moving forward, is Walsh Reclamation Inc. If you spend any time around drilling or exploration, you know how critical good support is. And that's exactly what Walsh Reclamation brings to the table. These guys have been supporting mining and reclamation projects across Nevada since the early 90s and have decades of combined experience behind their crews. From building drill pads and access roads to vac truck support and full-on reclamation work, they're the team that shows up, they get it done, and they keep everything on schedule. What stands out about Walsh Reclamation is their focus on doing things the right way. They have a strong safety culture, a focus on environmental responsibility, and a real understanding of how these remote projects actually operate day to day. So if you're running a project, need support in exploration or reclamation, these guys are definitely one to know. You can check out Walsh Reclamation by clicking the links on the episode notes or heading over to walshreclamationinc.com. So what did you do your first day? What was your job? What were you going to do?
Yeah. So Ben had hired me to support the maintenance planners. So with all of the maintenance planning, all of the scheduling, basically I'd close out work orders. I would verify the pre-op and post-op cards to make sure that there wasn't anything that needed to be logged. And I would do kind of KPI tracking on equipment availability and utilization. So it was a good first kind of glimpse into mining. I was fortunate to kind of learn some of the lingo and things. And my office was based in that maintenance trailer. So I would hear everybody talk about different things as far as like, kind of the language of the industry. And then I started working for Russ Osborne. I was hired full-time as a Barrick employee in June of 2008. So a few months later, Tori Martinez and Russ interviewed me, but they came to my office that morning. They're like, "We're interviewing you at 8:00." I'm like,
"Oh, well,
wonderful."
Yeah, this sounds like it's going to be pleasing.
I've been up all night with my son who has an ear infection. He's been vomiting, all of those things. Thankfully, I had Nancy at home taking care of him. So I was like, okay, here we go. And I don't know if either of you have ever interviewed with Russ or Tori, but it was quite intimidating.
Intense to say the least.
And so when I got my offer, I was obviously elated. And it was, I think I made like just under $16 an hour or something. But I had full benefits for my son. And I was like, this is the best. Like,
Yeah,
this
man.
is why I came out here. So from there, my office moved over to the new dry where the zone building was. So where they'd have all their line out meetings and stuff. And I got to know more of the mining workforce, the operators, the people at the face, and got to learn their lingo and who they were. And then I got to know their families and their kids and all of those things. And I just like, it hooked me. And so to come here knowing that this is going to be an underground mine, that's what I think about is like, these people like are the best people in the world. Underground miners are. And the way everyone looks out for one another, they care about one another. Like my parents have friends they've had their entire years because of underground mining.
Yeah, it's a wonder. It's a family.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the older brother that might give you a little bit of shit. You've got sisters. It's definitely a community. And I would say, like, as you're walking through the story and you're in the underground to where you're getting another breed of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where did
You said it nicely. You said lingo, but I don't think it was lingo.
yeah, I was gonna say, as a young lady coming into the industry, was there ever a time that you were intimidated, where you didn't want to speak up, or you didn't know your job and you didn't want to ask any questions?
That's a tough question because I don't feel like I've ever really experienced that. Like you guys know my family, you know my dad, you know my older brother, you know my Uncle Andy. I'm the only girl sandwiched between two boys and an uncle that was basically raised as a brother. And so I feel like the way I was raised probably helped me not feel like I can't speak up. But I will tell you, I know that other people do feel that way.
Sure.
And so because I have never really felt like I didn't have a voice, I feel like I need to support that and be that for other people, which is one reason why I like being involved in women in mining and different things, and why this project is so important is because I know that not everyone is afforded the same opportunities that some of us might get a bit naturally being multi-generational mining or different things. And so being able to advocate for people who are maybe underrepresented or are not quite sure how they might fit into mining, I think is really important.
Well, I think, to be honest, like, you had to grow up with a little bit thicker skin. You know what I mean? With Josh and Andy, and you know what I mean? Well, just being Mark's daughter. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to see the real side of what the industry is, and it was just normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so I don't even know that I caught it, and maybe I'm sorry. But did you go into recruiting? What were you interviewing for?
No, so I was interviewing for, I actually don't even remember the title. Basically, I was like support staff for operations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was interviewing for insurance.
No, I know.
Like she was that's exactly what the part of the story was like.
No, that's-
I don't care the position. I've got
Yeah.
insurance right now.
100%. I just
Yeah.
didn't. I don't know if I caught it.
I didn't
so-
even care about the job. I
Yeah.
was like, you want me to do what? Whatever. Just give me insurance.
Well, I think it's important for the audience to hear, man, is that not only the mining industry pays, and they pay well, but the benefits and the insurance and all of the other things that the industry does to take care of their people,
Yeah.
they're huge.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that enough. I mean, the medical, dental, vision, all those life insurance. I mean, you could go on and on and on. When you start adding that up, that's a big package for somebody not to pay for. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, and you also have, let's be honest, you got consistent money coming in, and you know, as long as you're there to work and you're there to work hard and do your job, that the money's not going away.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you got your first opportunity in the mining industry.
Yeah.
How long did that last for that position?
I was in that position from 2008 to 2010. So I got an email from the general manager of Goldstrike at the time as Randy Buffington. And he wasn't very long on words, but he was like, hey, I'd like to talk to you about an opportunity to come work for me. And I was like, okay, thanks, but I'm happy where I am.
Oh, gee.
And then I went to my dad's office and we were eating lunch together and he was like, how's your day? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, it's fine. But I got an email from Randy and he asked if I'd come work for him. And he was like, well, what did he say? What did you say? I said that I was happy where I am. And he goes, Skylie, you don't tell the general manager no. And I was like, oh, well, I did.
Yeah.
And
Dad, I love that job.
I worked Tuesday through Friday. And on Fridays at the mine, you know, there's not a lot of people out there. but Randy, I think, worked every day, 24 hours a day, maybe. He showed up in my office and he was like, so I know you said you're happy with where you're at, but I'd like to talk to you about this. And we talked about some things, and I made the decision to go work for him as his executive assistant. But one of the caveats to that was like, I didn't want to be the typical executive assistant. I don't want to do your calendar and schedule lunches and things like that, which
Well, you
he
came in with some
appreciated.
demands too.
Yeah, I probably didn't say
Well,
it that
you,
same
had,
way,
you had an
but
expectation.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you knew that you just didn't want to be kept in this one single
Yeah.
role and it's just supporting one person. It was like, I've got more to give than that. But I will say he probably recognized that, and that's why he gave you that opportunity.
I think so. And Russ Osborne and I talked about that when we were kind of talking through kind of the logistics of my transfer and things. So I'm really appreciative of, like, when I talk about my appreciation for some of the people that gave me the breaks that I had, like, it's them too, right? So it's the opportunity that I had there, and then to be able to kind of say, these are the things that I like to do. And working for Randy with all of the, like, the open pit manager, the processing manager, HR manager, safety manager, environment manager, all of them, I got to learn the business. Yeah. So it's not like I was focused on one single thing. Like, I got to learn how it all connected together, and then how it all connected to corporate and different things like that. And I got exposure to our external affairs teams, our recruitment teams, our HR teams more broadly. I knew I always wanted to go into human resources, but like what the avenue looked like, I wasn't quite sure. And so then probably 2012, there was a recruitment position open at the SBC in Elko. And at the time, Randy had left Goldstrike and Andy Cole had come in as the general manager. And I think there were two positions. I applied to the first one and he had to sign off on it. And then I applied for the second one and he had to sign off on it. He goes, I'm starting to take this personally. It's not you, I promise. But because I had such understanding from an operational level, like, I'm not an operator, I'm not an engineer, but I understand like what the work looks like. I understand like what it takes culturally and what we're looking for at some of our mine sites. When I was hired into that recruitment role, I was focused mostly on underground. So I had Goldstrike Underground and I had Turquoise Ridge because I worked for Nigel Bain. And so my relationship with Nigel was really helpful when I was partnering with Turquoise Ridge at the time for recruitment in probably like 2013, 2014. We were really struggling to get miners, especially in Winnemucca. And so partnering with Nigel, John Heathman, John Laird, like a number of people that were working out there to create kind of this underground mining training academy, we called it. And we'd, target people who were like over the road truckers or farm ranch hands that, people that know work isn't always super easy, know how to wake up early, know how to go to bed early, know how to come to work fit for duty, all of those things. So that was really fun. I always enjoyed going to Winnemucca. We would go there for career fairs and things quite a bit. So, yeah. And then from there, I started doing university relations and kind of the technical recruiting, which was really fun, like partnering with all the mining schools in the U.S. Was really cool. It's actually kind of funny now. Dino asked me how long I've worked in mining, and I was like, oh, almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years in 2008. But I'm to a point now to where students that I hired as interns when I ran that program are now working. Like Carl that we saw earlier today was an intern at Barrick when I was running that program. There's a guy that works for Redpath down here, Drew Wheeler.
Oh yeah, Drew.
I hired him as an intern and as a new grad. So seeing people step into, larger roles and they're adults and have families and all of those things. One of our shaft superintendents, Hiram Byers, he was an intern as well. And him and his wife lived in the High Desert Inn with their brand new baby. And now he lives in Patagonia and has, I think, 4 kids now. So it's
Very
just really
cool.
neat to see kind of the transition of people's lives, and that like people gave me opportunities and other people are getting opportunities in certain ways, not necessarily because of me, but I've been a part of their journey,
Yeah,
and that
100%.
makes me really proud.
So I got to ask real quick, did you help hire your Uncle Drew at TR?
No, he had been working there a long time before.
Randy?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a staple out there, dude.
Well, I was wondering. I was
Drew ain't going anywhere, man.
You know, I actually, anytime I would go out there, I don't think I ever even saw him. So
he does
I'm
a good
really
job of
actually
hiding.
curious if he actually works.
Oh no, I'm
Just
sure he was telling a joke somewhere.
I gotta find him every time I'm going out there
yeah.
too. So I'm like, where you at, buddy?
Well, I would say that at this point in your story, we kind of fast forwarded a little bit. I mean, so you were with Randy, and then you got this opportunity that you signed up for to step away from Randy. He took it personal, but you got the position, and then you said, yeah, you got to start working with universities.
Yeah.
So at that point in your journey, I mean, had you reflected at that point or at any point up to there to look back and go, I cannot believe I am where I am?
I probably do that more now than I ever have. I have 2 boys, so along the way I had my second son as well in 2010, and that's kind of when I made the transition.
That's
working
typically
for,
what moms do is they
Yeah.
forget their second child.
I know. I didn't forget him, but you
Tito's
know,
his second child.
I think about where they're at in life now, and like how thankful I am for. I don't know. We've made some sacrifices and we've taken some risks, but like thinking about the opportunities that they have, that's what I reflect on probably the most is like, I mean, I just bought my oldest son, Connor, a newer car because he's going to go to college and Carter needs a car. And so as the second child does, they get the hand-me-down.
Or they get something better, just saying.
But I told him, I was like, just don't wreck this one. And when you graduate high school, you can have a new car too.
Well, I definitely was hoping that you were going to lead into, I would say, the sacrifices that you've taken. I mean, I've been, I would say, lucky to know you throughout some of these times, but you did take a big sacrifice because at one point, your boys were with you, and then they went back to Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
Or went back to Ohio.
Yep.
And that's a huge sacrifice as a mother and as a young professional coming up that most people wouldn't do. So maybe
It's
walk us
very
through that a little
unconventional,
bit.
especially as a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe walk us through that a little bit.
So, I worked for Barrick until 2015, and then I went to Newmont for a couple of years, and then I did external recruitment. Through my time with external recruitment, someone contacted me about a role at South32, and I was like, I guess this is a theme. I was like, oh, I like my job. I think I'll be okay. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? You get one time, if you're lucky in your career in mining, to be a part of a Greenfields project. And so I reached back out to that recruiter and I was like, hey, I've had a change of heart. I would like to learn more. Unfortunately, they didn't get back to me. So I applied directly and now here I am. So, but in that, so I moved to Arizona in June of 2019. And, you know, I was thinking I'd come here, get settled, do all of those things. And my kids would, you know, come here and go to school and do all of those things. But their dad lives in Southern Ohio and they've known kids and have cousins and everything there for their whole lives from us going back and visiting and all of that. And so they're like, you know, we'd really like to go to school where we know people and have connection. And here it's a really big city. They've never lived in a big city. So to them, Tucson is quite large. They were unsure about school. They knew that they had a good, you know, solid landing if they went there. Which was tough, right? But I had to my parents are divorced as well. And they didn't ever put pressure on me to be like, oh, I will miss you too much, so you have to live here, or anything like that. So to separate myself from that decision and like put what they wanted first, they didn't ask for their parents to be divorced and live on opposite sides of the country. But yeah, it was something that I had to just swallow my pride and swallow every ounce of sadness that I felt in that moment and be like, you know, that's okay, but these are the conditions. Like, you have to have good grades, you have to stay in work in school or sports, something extracurricular. You're not just going to sit around and do nothing and, you know, just don't be getting into trouble, be good humans. And they've delivered on everything that they've committed, and so we've made it work. It's been tough in certain instances, but in other instances, like, I don't know, you know how they talk about like mama's boys? Like, I know that they're mama's boys, but they're not like, mom's not there taking care of their every second. I'm not there washing their laundry or making their food or, you know, doing all of those things. So I think it's been good for them to live they're living like a little bit of bachelor life with their dad. And so hopefully when they become husbands in the future, that will help them, because they'll, you know, have appreciation for shared responsibility. I try to go back about every 6 weeks, depending on what's going on with work or different things. I'm not able to, you know, always do that. But, you know, working with the team here, my boss in Perth and Pat locally, they're very understanding. I'm actually going to leave the day after the Women in Mining Conference and spend the whole month of May in Ohio to watch Connor's senior season of baseball and his graduation and stuff, which I can't believe it's gotten here so fast.
Well, let's talk about Connor for a minute, because even though it was a tough decision to say, hey, you know, you guys, I'm good with you guys, or not good, but gonna have to be good with going back to Ohio, that created an opportunity for him.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're gonna go watch senior year of baseball, but there's a little bit more to that. He's got an opportunity to go to the next level.
Yeah. And so he's getting lessons from a guy, and then he does just for some extra cash in his pocket, he catches for a guy that does pitching lessons. And they're like, Connor, what are you going to do? Like, because he wasn't thinking he would play baseball in college. He's like, oh, I'm just going to go to the local college and study here, maybe transfer later. And they're like, oh, I think you have an opportunity. And so they were able to get him in touch with a school that they seem pretty interested in him playing. So we're kind of waiting to see what comes of that. But if he gets an opportunity to play, like, I'm super excited. But, you know, it's interesting. I love the fact that Connor and Carter have had these last, you know, handful of years where they're like really solid with each other. I mean, you guys are brothers. When they were little, they would fight so bad. I would cry. I'd be like, you guys are supposed to be the best friends. What are you doing? Why are you fighting like this? And your mom probably feels the same way. But
Mom always felt bad for the first one.
Oh, yeah. So then now they're like such good friends. Carter's a freshman. Connor's a senior. And so they're riding back and forth to school together. They play football on the same team together. Like, they are like the best of friends. Connor has a girlfriend, and she went out of town to watch some friends of hers play softball. And so I asked Connor, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to go hang out with your friends or whatever? And he was like, nope. Carter and we have a Rocket League tournament, and we're just going to sit at home and play Rocket League all weekend, which I'm like, I used to get pissed off about video games, like clean your room, stop playing video games. But now if they're at home playing video games, they're not driving around with crazy drivers. So, like, play all the games.
Carter's going to be lost when his older brother leaves.
He is, and I'm worried about it. And I think Connor feels like, I think he's not afraid, but he doesn't want to leave his buddy.
Sure.
You know?
Do you think there's an opportunity that the youngest might have a change of heart and come to Arizona?
No, I think he's got good friends, and he's really established at his school, and like they're both thriving. Like, I couldn't be more proud of my kids. They're fantastic humans. They're funny. They're still teenage boys sometimes. So like waking them up in the mornings is like, but
so they know the drill sergeant's coming in May.
They love it. I think they love it.
That is cool. Sponsoring this episode of the podcast is Safety First Training and Consulting. Headquartered here in Elko, Nevada, but mobile enough to reach you anywhere throughout the United States. These guys can cover it all, from MSHA approved to new miner training, annual refresher courses for both surface and underground. They can help support with health testing like spirometry, respirator fit tests. They even offer courses like fall protection. So head on over to their website at safetyfirstelco.com. Check them out. Their mission is to help your crew adopt an ownership mindset. Not just do the training, but live the training safely every shift. With top-notch instructors and hands-on classes, Safety First Training and Consulting makes sure you're not just compliant, you're confident. Give these guys a visit at safetyfirstelco.com.
Yeah.
So let's get back into your story around South 32. So originally, when you had the recruiter reach out to you, you were like, I'm good, but then you had your change of heart. You hired on at South 32. What was your first take when you made the jump? Because there's no active mining going on at this point.
Yeah. So maybe I'll back up a little bit further to when I first was offered and decided to make the move. And then I had to break the news to my parents.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Good
so
call.
my dad was like, I don't like this at all. And I think he was really worried about it because he was like, you're going to go. Nobody knew who South 32 was.
Sure.
So he was like, oh, this is really risky. Like, you have 2 kids you need to think about. He didn't say it this way, but this is my interpretation of it. Like, you're going to go work for a junior mining company. That's not stable. Like, you have stability here. You have family here. I didn't know anybody here.
Sure.
So I was like, I get what you're saying, but like, this is a unique opportunity. And so then we told my grandma, and she was like, I don't like it. She was really worried. My grandpa worked in copper mining in Arizona when my dad was young. They lived in Kearney, Arizona. And so my grandma saw a lot of like the cyclical ups and downs of mining, especially mining's past when technology didn't really allow you to have as, concise
copper.
mine planning and stuff. So it was a tough discussion. And
Well, you got to think of it like this. I mean, you had to let your kids do their thing, and now your dad's buddy is leaving, and he's like, "Man, I got you into this because I wanted you to be secure, and now that I don't think you're going to be secure, like I'm a little nervous."
Yeah.
He's also got to be proud, though,
He
to
is.
watch you elevate the way that you have throughout your career.
Yeah. He is. And we talk about that a lot. It's actually one of the things that, like, my dad and I feel like we have a really special relationship. Like, we really are buddies. And I like the fact that, like, that is one thing that he and I have is kind of this shared journey in mining. My uncle worked in mining as well. I was telling you guys earlier about a fishing trip we took to Casper, Wyoming, and listening to the 2 of them giggle like hyenas or something with tears streaming down their face about like their heyday of mining in Casper. So it is something that's just really like, I'm really proud of that bond that my dad and I have. And so moving here, when I first started, there were only like 30 people that worked here. And I hadn't worked on a project before. And so trying to figure out like, okay, how are we going to source people? Like, what systems are we going to use? So it was really basic, right? Like how we tie into the broader South 32 systems and things like that.
Did you have creativity rights to kind of build the program the way you want it?
Yeah, in a way, which was good because I was able to utilize the knowledge I had of the industry and the types of people that we'd be targeting to drive some of those campaigns. And then we had communication teams, people like Lena, who really partner with us to make sure that we're able to reach the audience that we want to reach. And so going through those various study phases, like we recruited the team. I mean, you talked to Andy and Aaron, Miguel and Joe earlier, and like recruiting that part of the team over a period of time, that was tough, but they kind of knew what they were getting into. Like, they know what projects look like. They know that projects come with certain level of uncertainty, but like, we're selling a dream to people, and it's important that they don't regret the moves that they've made, because like, what if we get through pre-feasibility or feasibility and we don't sanction the project? Like, people have made big sacrifices in their lives. And so it was just like probably a little bit of like pressure in the back of my mind to be like, I really hope you have not like ruined people's lives by bringing them here.
Sure.
And so I think, Pat talked about that culture and getting that right. I think that is the number one thing that we had in the early days, was a good team, a solid team, a project that allowed us to bring so many different things together to make mining what we all want it to be. Yeah. We don't get this opportunity very often, and we don't want to take it in vain. So working with everyone to kind of build that dream and put it to paper. And now, like, obviously, it's a big deal now.
You also start seeing the movement, right? Oh, she's down there. Oh, he's down there. Okay, maybe I will give this place a look. Yeah. And all of a sudden, now you got a team, and it's like, no, I'm going to go down. They're calling. I'm at least going to have the phone call. Yeah. Where before it might not have been that, but you got to help build that team. You got to help build that process or that
Well, you got to
excitement.
You got to start that before you even knew that it was going to be a thing back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Like, you got to meet these people. They've watched you throughout your career, and if you hadn't been the person that you are, they would never have taken that risk. You know what I mean? They would have been like, I'm good. But
Yeah.
so kudos
If
to
they
you.
even answer.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you for paving the way for yourself, without even really knowing it, because the high level guys that you have here are going to be what starts this culture at South 32 to take it into future generations. And the project, the magnitude of of influence that you have and those guys have taken this project forward, for a girl that started as a temp, maybe some of that legend status for your dad and Vern and Ben had rubbed off on that morning. Maybe that bundle of flowers
Like
for
tenacity.
yeah.
Well, how easy, difficult? What does putting together a team that you put together look like?
Oh, I mean, it's not been easy. But it goes back, kind of.
I know there was at least
Relentless, like,
9
where-
phone calls.
Yeah. So like Andy, like I talked to him so many times, and I was like, then the last time he's like, I don't think this is going to work out for me, Skylie. I'm really sorry. And I was like, Andy, give me 24 hours. I promise it will work out. And then he was here, and then like he got here, and then like 5 days later, we shut the office for COVID. So then he was like doing his job in Florida, and he was probably like, I hate you. I don't think he's ever said that.
I just
But
seen
I
like
do
Jerry
think-
Maguire right there with the fishbowl. Who's coming with me?
Sponsoring this episode of the podcast, our good friend Jimmy Ewing and Motor Mission Machine and Radiator. When your machine overheats, there's no downtime to waste, especially in mining. That's why Mining Minds recommends Motor Mission Machine and Radiator, your go-to experts in industrial and heavy equipment radiator repair, engine and cylinder head rebuilding, and precision machine shop work. Founded in 1949 and serving the western United States for over 50 years, Motor Mission handles it all. Radiators and coolers from passenger vehicles to massive mining shovels, and full machine shop services like honing, line boring, and crankshaft balancing. They'll pick it up, tear it down, clean it right, and test it on custom stands before it leaves their shop. The bottom line is, when you talking best in class, that's Motor Mission Machine and Radiator. Big or small, they can do them all. Well, but for COVID to happen,
Yeah.
5 days in, you said?
For Andy, yeah, I think he started on like March 9th in the office. The first day of work from home was March 17th. Not that I'm keeping track.
You were just helping him with his relocation package. He's like,
Yeah.
you can stay in Florida for a
Oh,
little bit longer.
We aren't even going to talk about that because that was one of the things that we had to get, set
yeah.
up. And so it was like, oh my gosh, the relocation was going to be the death of me at one point. But
Well, so
no, we've gotten like, it is really cool. Like, and now we've been able to attract this team. It was a challenge. Like, and it took a lot of long days and lots of phone calls and not giving up and being focused on like what we want to have, like the importance of bringing in the right people with the right mindset and targeting those people was really important because I know and Andy knew and Pat knew, like, these are good people with good culture and good, like, they're safe, they're energetic in some cases,
Yep.
Miguel. And they're passionate about what they do. And so in order for us to deliver on the things that we've asked people to make sacrifices for to come here to do this job, like that was one part of it. But then it's like, okay, now this part's shored up, right? And so now we need to kind of shift gears once we had the sanctioning decision to say, okay, now this is time for us to kind of put our money where our mouth is. And we need to start investing in education programs in the local community and, summer camps for like data science and things like that. And so that's where probably most of my role now sits. So it is kind of a full circle moment for me, is to like, I was given opportunity through, maybe typical ways or traditional ways, but this gives me an opportunity to like help influence opportunity for people that have no idea that mining is in their backyard or what mining actually might look like. So you've heard us talk about Centro, our remote operating center in Nogales. We were really intentional on the siting selection for that building because we wanted it to be an enabler to the industry. So not everyone is going to be able to get up at 3 a.m, put their boots on, get on the bus, ride out to site. But we still want them to be able to, realize that opportunity. So if you think of people who are maybe differently abled, or they're single parents with kids in school and different things like that, or they've maybe not made enough money yet to afford 2 cars for their family, and one car has to drive to Tucson for work, then what's the option for the other? So putting it in Nogales puts it close to where people who experience barriers in transportation, it puts it close to schools, daycares, things like that. And so putting Centro in the local community allows us to kind of meet our aspirations as far as the local workforce and in what that looks like, because we really envision our future workforce being representative of the entire community, not just what I saw when I was 7 or 8 years old, like all these men and a few women that worked, at the guard shack. And I'm sure that there were more women than just that, but those were the ones that I knew.
Yeah,
right?
those were represented at that time anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I also want to talk about, so you're not just creating opportunities for people in locations, it's a workforce development, or I'm sorry, it's economic development. I mean, you're building communities up in that process. You're providing them maybe careers and opportunities that they wouldn't have had elsewhere or in other ways. But I also want to step back and ask, you guys are at a location, and while everybody thinks Arizona mining, yada, yada, it's underground mining in Arizona in a district that probably hasn't seen mining in a while. So you're having to look at, okay, what does this look like to get somebody here? How can we be competitive in the area? Like, there's a lot of intricacies that go into all that before you even get to bring somebody on. Yeah. I know you said relocation packages, so that's kind of stuck in my head, right?
I think you got to look too at an old mining town that has seen the boom in the bust, or it's how do you say? Yeah, sometimes these older communities get set in their ways, and when you have potential influx of people, it's like, how do you get in front of that years ahead of time and be good stewards of the community on one side of the mountain? On the other side of the mountain, you're building community, like you said, economically, you're providing jobs that haven't, that you're educating on, and you're going to be developing people for years to come, to where those are all massive things that take a lot of face time from you and your team, to where to have an HR role at a company, or a head of HR or director of HR at a company like this, there's a lot of time vested. You're not just sitting at home or sitting in your office. It's like you're planning the next, 4 or 5 months or year ahead,
Generations potentially,
for your people. And it's about the messaging. It's about the education. It's about the company being a good steward in those communities. You got a hell of an opportunity on your hands, but man, I can see that you're not just sitting still.
Yeah.
She's like, where do I go with that?
Yeah. No, but honestly, it's a labor of love. Like, you are right. It does take a lot of FaceTime and partnering with, so we're lucky we have Pima Community College in Tucson, who supports the Santa Cruz Center, the Provisional Community College in Nogales. Being able to partner with them to implement programs like Electrician Certificate Program. Our next program will launch in August, the Automated Industrial Technology Program. And then now working with our OEM partners to say, what's next? But it's not just that, right? It is even beyond that, to realize the full potential of the Hermosa mine. It's like, what else can come from this? So I work really closely with the community college, but then also serving on the Workforce Arizona Council. So it's a governor appointed council that focuses on workforce development across the state, as well as other kind of intermediaries to support workforce and economic development. And so it isn't a let's focus on Hermosa's needs.
Sure.
We will do that. And that's what, the Electrician Certificate Program and the AIT program are meant for, is, it's needed for Hermosa, but we also want to give back more broadly. So we're putting more people through the programs than what we will initially hire, following graduation. Eventually, I hope they all come to work at Hermosa as we continue to ramp up our workforce. But it's also like creating an opportunity in the local community so that other industrial organizations might want to come into Santa Cruz County. So if you think about, let's think about like a chip manufacturing company, right? Like if they're going around and they're looking, they're like, okay, Arizona's a really friendly state to do business in. Where do we want to look to see like what's a good, like what's the infrastructure, power, internet, all of those things? What's the workforce climate look like? And those two are always going to be neck and neck. It's like, what do you need more, power or people? And it's like, well, how do you rate the two? So if you can prove that you have a good workforce ecosystem, then you're able to be, you know, kind of higher ranked for some of those industrial growth opportunities. And if the community wants that, we want to also support that from a sustainability perspective, because it will be, you know, I kind of talked about not taking an opportunity and, you know, taking it into vain. Like we want to make sure that we're creating sustainable programs in the local community so that, you know, mining at some point is finite. And so being able to help support the local community in that workforce development space is something that I'm really proud of. I tell people often that I have the best job in the world, and I really believe that. Like giving people opportunity, giving communities opportunity, getting to meet some of the people that I've been able to meet has been like amazing. And I do take those moments sometimes because I drive back and forth from Tucson and Nogales, so I can think and reflect on some of those things of like, it all comes back to creating opportunity, not necessarily giving someone something, right? Like I was given opportunity, but it was up to me to do something with it.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah, you
I
could have turned around on that icy road and went back home.
yeah. Or I could have like missed my alarm every day and not been on time to work for Ben when I was a temp. And then I wouldn't have even gotten the interview that was scary with Tori and Russ, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like creating those opportunities for people to grasp onto and for them to take them and run with them. Because I think that sometimes that's all you need is a little like boost up, right? You think about like, I'll use this analogy only because my arm is sore, like lifting weights, right? And so like you're like lifting one weight above your head for a period of time, your arm gets tired. You just need like a tiny little bit of a boost. And so if we're able to give people those little boosts, I think, you know, the people that want those opportunities, they're gonna reach them tenfold.
Yeah.
Well,
And they'll give back.
Well, I will say this, you're building community down here to where, you know, your Arizona miners, your Nevada miners, your Montana miners. I mean, this is an opportunity for them to be able to come into where it's warm all year long, to be able to be influential. I mean, you guys are providing those opportunities for that person to be able to take that leap if they want, you know?
And that's what we want. So when we think about like our local commitment to developing a local workforce is 80% people who live in Santa Cruz County today. We need people from everywhere else to come and help train those people. And so like our intention is to recruit from some of these areas of people that we know have really good mining experience. They have the right safety culture. They have the right culture to begin with, like to come down and help people get those opportunities that someone probably gave them at one point. And it is kind of that giving back. Like you get to go, we make jokes. I think Lena tagged it. You don't have to shovel sunshine. And so thinking about like the opportunity that people, you know, if they want it, it's the opportunity for them to come be a part of Hermosa is there. And they're going to be able to give back to a community that so desperately needs further economic development.
You get to be a part of something bigger while also developing something that nobody else has had an opportunity to do.
Yeah.
In a way that's unique from most other places, I think globally, right? All the pieces that you guys have put together and the way that you put it together. So I got to imagine getting the leadership group on board and in place is step one. That's got to feel like a victory. But as soon as you turn the page, it's like, all right, I got another mountain to climb here, right?
Yeah.
So you guys, I imagine here within the next little while, are you getting ready to ramp up?
Yeah. So over the next 18 months or so, we'll be hiring right around 200 people. Most of those people will need to be experienced. And so if you think about probably 65% of those are going to have experience in some capacity in the industry and building off of that momentum. And then, you know, hiring from our local communities as well. so that we're able to kind of funnel feed that. So I think about the people that have been in our workforce for, as long as I have, in some of our like frontline roles, like they are getting great experience. They've developed this really great safety culture that's related to mining, and now they're going into other roles within Hermosa. So it's opening those entry level positions. And so we need to incrementally build that so that, the people we hire next week in 4 or 5 years, they're the subject matter experts.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are going to be training their neighbor on, as their next green hat or whatever.
Well,
So-
you've got succession planning in the works,
But also building that culture.
Yeah.
Because you can bring in one cancer, and that's the scary thing, right?
Yeah.
Is because once you ramp up, everything looks good on paper. They interviewed well. Not to say that you guys will run into that situation, but it's always a risk. And you guys have built something, at least from outwardly looking in, very special here. So I guess, how do you call on old friends? Do you call? I mean, how does that look for you guys to make sure you're still getting the right culture, even though you're ramping up?
Yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to leadership roles, it's, kind of verifying information. Like, you want to make sure that you're hiring somebody that other people think are good, but also getting kind of a diversified experience or, opinion, I think is important as well. Because, the way I receive you might not be the same way he received, whatever.
Oh, that's
So-
true for sure.
She likes me.
So I think that there's those things, but then it's also knowing like there's like a TED Talk actually that I've watched, and it's hiring isn't rocket science, and so you're not going to get it right all the time, and getting your ego out of the way to say, I actually made a bad decision here, and I don't think that I can invest the amount of effort, time, or energy into, kind of correcting this without it impacting 5 other people
Sure.
or whatever, and making those tough decisions and making them early. That not only serves the people that, the other 5 people that are maybe impacted, but also does them a favor because, maybe they aren't loving it either. And so if you give people an opportunity to look for other opportunities in the moment, it probably feels really shitty, but I think
Well,
you do learn from it and you can take it to your next role.
so as you, I guess, ramp up, it's important to get the leaders in there though. But what about giving people like yourself who knew about mining, maybe lived in the community, are now coming back? Do you have a quote unquote manpower around, or are you guys providing opportunity for entry level people? And the reason I say that is because a lot of people come into the mining industry. Well, I don't have any experience. It's not necessarily what you need all the time. You need to have a right attitude, right work ethic, and somebody like yourself that's a go-getter. So those opportunities, I'm sure, are available as well, right?
Yep. So we do have entry level opportunities, and we do focused kind of campaigns in the local community for those entry level roles. One, we've used geotemps. We use geotemps for some of our entry level geologists or core processing technicians to bring people in, let them get an understanding of the industry, and if they like it, and then they want to kind of transition in full time is an opportunity for them as well. But also partnering with like Redpath, Sun, Sandvik, Normet, all of our contracting providers that like they're hiring inexperienced people into our organization as well. And so they're very encouraging to their workforce to say, like, if you want to have a job with South32, like we have this opportunity now, you can get some experience as like a laborer or something. You learn the safety culture of a mine like Hermosa. You learn kind of the lingo of things and just the way things work. And then it opens up opportunities. So it's multi-pronged for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then I think that's going to, again, having those partnerships, you guys are building the next generation miners as well, right? So when you look 30, 40, 50 years, what you guys are building right now is creating that next generation. So I don't know. I think that's fascinating because a lot of people don't think about what it takes to come in and do something like this. Do you guys provide, other than like somebody like us coming out, do you guys provide opportunities for the local community to come see what you guys are doing?
Yeah. So we host community tours on the first Friday of every month,
Cool.
with the exception of monsoon season. So like June to September. We also host media tours twice a year so that, various news stations and newspapers can come in and take a look at the project and interview Pat and our permitting director, myself sometimes on workforce development. So there's those opportunities. But then like partnering with like the U of A and other educators, like to get young people interested or aware, probably aware in the first instance, and then interested in a career in mining. One thing I want to touch back on as far as like the entry level type positions. So the design of our work is going to be quite different from a typical mining operation with our utilization of Centro, which is where we'll have our autonomous and remotely operated headquarters, right? That gives a different type of work design for people. And so they might be more interested in coming and working in mining if they knew that those types of opportunities exist. Whereas, you know, not everyone wants to get up really early and come out to a mine site, go underground and do those things. But we do want and need all demographics of people to work in our operation. And so being able to give those opportunities in that capacity, I think it kind of makes it a little bit less intimidating. Like, you get to go to this kind of state-of-the-art brains of an operation. You get to see it, and then you get to learn, oh, what does a jumbo do? I want to learn more about a jumbo. Take me out with you next week, and I'll observe. And then it's like, oh, let me operate that piece of equipment. And then you've got them hooked, and, you know, you can't get them out of.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's all history from there.
Yeah.
Well, I think what you have, really to sum it up, is you have the future of mining in your hands, and you guys have the creativity and the ableness to be able to go whatever direction you want with it. Really what the next step is calling all miners.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're looking for the professional miners that are looking for the next step in their career, the opportunity that you guys are ready to provide. And if that's the case, you guys are going to be coming up north. We're going to be doing some events up there. And so
Well, and,
Coming
and
to
those individuals as well, good leadership, good mentorship, you know what I mean, good people. Last couple questions. What's the future look like for yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of things that I want to do with the team on workforce development and making sure that we see those things through. An example is the provisional college in Nogales is operated out of like an old Kmart building. And so working with the local educators, the local government reps, the state of Arizona, our board of directors, Pat, to see what we can do to give the community a bit more of like a state-of-the-art educating facility, I think is really important. So if you think about, you know, kind of GBC or something in Elko, like doing something similar to that, maybe not at the same scale, but something similar locally, I think is something that I would like to see through. Seeing our first few cohorts of people going through our focused programs, the electrician program and AIT program graduates, and see where they go and what they do, I think is really cool. It's just been fantastic to see like people we hired, you know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Now they're married and they're having babies, and they're really like, they're solidly rooted in the community, and it just makes me so happy to see just
You change their lives, right? Like you influence their lives. The last question I have is, you think your boys will get into mining?
I don't know. So Connor and I have been talking about that. He's graduating, going into school. He wants to work in finance or HR.
Both are in mining.
I know. And so, but he wants to do something industrial. So I'm hopeful. I actually was talking to someone from Fletcher, the other day, and 'cause they're headquartered in Huntington, West Virginia. And I was like, well, my son, you know, I'll bring him out to tour the plant. And they're like, yeah, cool. I told my son about it, and I thought he'd be like, yeah, okay, but can I have money for some food now? But he was like, oh, that would be really cool. Like, he was really excited about it. So maybe peripherally.
Yeah.
Well, I would say this: you got a task on your shoulders, because you're going to have 3 legends in the truck with you, or 2 other legends other than yourself in the truck, to be able to set him up the way your dad did you.
Yep. I think the key to that is let them talk to other people, and it's not just the mom or the dad to say, oh, you should do this, you should do this. I mean, you guys have kids, you know, moms and dads don't have any good
We're not
ideas.
cool at all.
Yeah, until they need something.
Yeah.
and then you got a great idea.
Yes.
Dean, before we get out of here, brother,
Skylie, I just want to say thank you for setting all this up. You and Lena have outdone yourselves, I would say, to be able to reconnect with, the group that we did earlier and to get to know Pat on a different level. It was an amazing day, early, but definitely worth it. So thank you so much.
I am excited for you guys. I'm going to echo everything that he said. This is a phenomenal place. You can tell the culture and everything you guys have built is going in the right direction. Thank you guys for setting this up. Lena, yourself, thank you guys.
Next step is we're going to have Lena on the show and see what it really takes.
Let's do it. She's shaking her head.
She can tell you all about our messaging and everything that we've had to do to kind of get South 32 on the map because,
Sure.
She's the one that's done it.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
You guys check us out. Check out South 32. Where can people get a hold of you guys?
South32 Hermosa.com or ask Hermosa at south32.net.
Cool. We'll put that on our links and all that stuff too. You guys check us out, miningmindsllc.com. Adios.
Peace.
Yeah. This one's for the crews underground. For the haul truck drivers, the welders, the crushers. For the ones who make the world turn while nobody's looking. Mine and mine. Let's dig in. Yeah. From the pit to the plant where the iron sparks fly, we talk grit, talk grind under that big sky. Dino and Grover got the mic turned high, breaking down stories money just can't buy. From the driller to the tech with the night shift eyes, we shine that light where the truth resides. Talk safety, talk struggle, talk pride inside. Man, it's the heartbeat where the people thrive. For Mining Minds, we dig a little deeper. Stories from the soul, not a corporate speaker. Human element is the real truth seeker. Every week we rise, podcast speaker. Come Mining Minds, we dig a little deeper. Stories from the soul, not a corporate speaker. Human element is the real truth seeker. Every week we rise, podcast speaker. Yeah, copper, gold, silver, coal, you name it. We break down the process, the blood that sustain it. Presumption flow, the culture, the cause. The ones who made it happen, never counting the loss. We the Joe Rogan of the rock and the dust. Talking tough love, respect and trust. From the hall road climbs to the mill line hum. We bring the stories where the real ones come. Mining Minds, we dig a little deeper. Stories from the soul, not a corporate speaker. Human element, it's the real truth seeker. Every week we rise, podcast speaker. Mining Minds, we dig a little deeper. Stories from the soul, not a corporate speaker. Human element, it's the real truth seeker. Every week we rise, podcast speaker. This ain't no suit and tie talk. Nah, this the grease-stained boots on ground law. From hard times to the times they thrive. Mining Minds keep the culture alive. We salute the companies that back their crew, the ones that care and the ones that grew. From Nevada to Peru to the odds and minds. We link that world with the honest lines. Dino and Grover, yeah, they speak that truth. In a room full of miners, they the voice of proof. Plug in, tune up, and follow the signs. It's the sound of the industry. Mining Minds, we dig a little deeper.